to deliver his special address. I would request everyone else to please keep your phones, your microphones on mute, and before he starts.
Namaste all the respected elders and brothers and sisters who have assembled here today under the banner of Dr. Shyam Prasad Mukherjee Research Foundation for hearing few words about the Atmanirbhar Bharat vision and action. First of all, before commencing my presentation, I would like to thank the director and the members of the Dr. Shyam Prasad Mukherjee Research Foundation for giving me an opportunity once more to connect with you all. Basically, the foundation and its gathering is always intellectual in nature, but somehow for the past several years, they have been kind enough to grant me a place here who is a perfect non-intellectual as far as the nature is concerned. And today I have that great difficulty of addressing a big intellectual forum, being a non-intellectual naturally. But with my experience as a social worker and my experience as the aggregator of good things that are happening in and around, I hope I can address the issue, the subject that has been assigned to me for today. The Atmanirbhar Bharat vision and action is the subject given to me today. Honorable Prime Minister, on his address to the nation on May 12th, in around 33 minutes, he laid out in front of us a vision whose action he had in his mind, the blueprint of which he had in his mind, and the journey in which road he had already started taking forward, taking the whole country along with him from last 6 years. The concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat, it's not a new one. It is based on our ancient ethos. It is based on our ancient values. It is based upon our ancient life science. Honorable Prime Minister, building up from where our ancient rishis have ideated, practiced, and also given us a way forward. He has taken that task on his shoulder, and he's seeing to it that the modern India crisscrosses this journey of getting into a new Indian platform, new India, and becoming a global power in true sense. When we tell power, when we tell superpower, when we tell global Vishwaguru, all these things are not defined by what English dictionaries mean or not what the Western philosophies mean. All these global power or superpower, when we mention all those words, they are perfectly rooted in the Hindu culture, the Bharatiya culture of what a power means. The power here, it doesn't mean conquering somebody. The power here means it is assuring the welfare of the others. That is the basic concept of the basic difference between the power of the Western countries, the power of the Western philosophies, and the power that is told by the Eastern philosophies and the Indian, Bharatiya, and the Hindu philosophy. So whenever I use the word global power, don't get into the mold of the American global power or the Russian global power of some years, or the Chinese global power of the recent time, or some other European superpower or something like that. When we mention the word global superpower, because it is hanging around around us in a big manner. So because of that, we need to pluck those words and use it. But when we use it, it is totally under different connotation that we use it. Because the social upbringing of Bharat, the values that have been preached and practiced and inherited and which has been given to the coming generation in Bharat or in the Hindu way of life, it is not something like conquering. It is not something exclusivist. Neither it is something like expansionist. It is neither exclusivist nor expansionist or anything like that the Western philosophy or the Western order preaches us. When we tell Atmanirbhar, it doesn't mean keeping somebody out. It doesn't mean keeping somebody out. You going out. That means you going out with the strength of your character, number one, with the strength of your skills, number two, and with the strength of the values that you have inherited, practiced in your life, you going out so that you can see to it that the welfare of the world, welfare of the human order is established. When we tell and it is a very big subject which can be elaborated over a period of several days, the very foundation of Atmanirbhar Bharat. I will not go very deep into it because both my time and also I have two more words to attend it, vision and action also. I need to present it here and I need to touch it here. So the Prime Minister in his address of May 12th, he used quite a few sentences also along with economy, along with various reforms. We need to catch the meaning of all those sentences in a right manner also. He told the Atmanirbhar Bharat is a philosophy, is a concept which has evolved out of the philosophical context of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. When you tell Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, again it is inclusive, not exclusive one. It is not expansionist. You are not going to conquer somebody else. You are not going to conquer somebody else through your brute power or your military power or by your individual strength. It means inclusiveness. To understand what is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, we need to understand the Hindu philosophy and we need to understand the Bharatiya way of life. See, in our country, there are Purusharthas. In your country, we have got the goals for everybody's life. And when we tell the goals that they have been preached in Gurukulas, they have been practiced by the people in the society, and even the uneducated people of the society also, it has been practiced. And it has been inherited by people from times immemorial. There are various sentences, there are various sayings in our ancient text which were mentioned by the Prime Minister in his address also. What are those sentences that we need to catch, understand, and we need to follow? Atmano mokshartam jagadhitayachan. Atmano mokshartam. Yani, why the truth? Why the attainment of truth? Why the attainment of some higher order? It is for jagadhitayachan. It is for the welfare of the world. It is for the welfare of the globe. It is for the global welfare. Not becoming a superpower in today's Western context, but for realizing the global welfare. When you tell Krinvanto Vishwamaryam, it is totally different from the Chinese concept of China is a heaven and all others are subjects of it. This is the basic Chinese philosophy that is driving today's China in the world. The China is a heaven in their language, Hans language. China is a heaven and rest are all subjects who have to be taught how to live on. When you tell Krinvanto Vishwamaryam, it is not like that that you are the heaven, you are the master, and there some others are the subject, and you need to teach them how to live on. No, when you tell Krinvanto Vishwamaryam, you need to get educated. Why? To take the world forward. You need to get educated not because you need to get employed. You need to get educated not because you have to make money. You need to get educated because you have to earn status. They may be the offshoots of your education. But what is the goal of the education? To make the world a place to live in. When you tell Krinvanto Vishwamaryam, it is you get educated, you get culture, you inculcate value to make the world a better place to live in. When our rishis told Etad Desha Prasutasya Sakashad Agra Janmanaha Swam Charitran Shiksheran Prithivya Sarvamanava. It is a very basic saying that goes. Etad Desha Prasutasya Sakashad Agra Janmanaha Swam Charitran Shiksheran. What is the meaning of our life? The meaning of our life, the meaning of our society, the direction of our society, the goal of our individual life is Swam Charitran Shiksheran Prithivya Sarvamanava. To take care of the whole humanity. To take care of the whole humanity. We have at a single time, we have two kinds of sentences in our country. Where Rama tells to Lakshmana, Api Swarnamayi Lanka, Name Lakshmana Rochate, Janani Janma Bhumicha Swargadapi Gariyasi. This is one of the concepts that has been told by Rama to Lakshmana. When Lakshmana tells that, why again go to Lanka? Why again go to Ayodhya? Bharata is already ruling Ayodhya. And this Lanka, it looks better than that debilitated Ayodhya of that time. This is a Swarnamayi Lanka, where everything is built by gold. This is the sayings of the Lakshmana, as Ramayana goes by. So when Rama hears this, then he tells to Lakshmana, Api Swarnamayi Lanka, Name Lakshmana Rochate. Don't get enamored by the golden Lanka. Don't get enamored by the golden Lanka. Janani Janma Bhumicha Swargadapi Gariyate. The mother and the motherland are better than Swargan. At the same time, when we tell Janani Janma Bhumicha Swargadapi Gariyate, when we hold our allegiance to the motherland, at the same time, Shankaracharya told Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam. These are the two faces of the same coin. Rama tells Janani Janma Bhumicha Swargadapi Gariyase. At the same time, Adi Shankaracharya tells Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam. Bandhava Shiva Bhaktacha. All Shiva Bhaktas are our relatives, God fearing. Shiva Bhakta is not Ishwarlinga devotees. When you tell Shiva Bhakta, it is not Ishwarlinga devotee. It is God-fearing people or God-respecting people. Bandhava Shiva Bhakta Chan. Not directed by cult, not controlled by cult, not dictated by edict, neither dictated by pravadis or whatever it is. But Bandhava Shiva Bhakta, it is huge. Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam, all three worlds. The upper one, the middle one, the earth, and the Patala, all three Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam, all are my countries. And when I tell my country, when it becomes mine, then I take care of it. When I tell mine, it is not the ownership. When I tell mine, it is the trusteeship that is there in this country. We don't run the world. We don't run the society. We don't run the country on the ownership basis in our country. We feel the trusteeship of it. When I tell my Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam, when I inculcate a sense of duty towards it. When I tell Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam, we need to take care of it. When Honorable Prime Minister told Atmanirbhar Bharat, it is not like that building some sixth generation warfare which is conversant to the present day requirements. It may also be there. That is a different thing. But it was not building all-pervading, all-conquering army or all-conquering powerful defense forces. It doesn't mean like it. Because he told at the same time, our Atmanirbhar Bharat, it comes out of the philosophical context of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is one and the whole world is my family. When I tell my family, you may set right the wrongdoing people, but you don't punish everybody. We don't crush anybody. We don't crush anybody. So the India, we see for the last 6,000 to 8,000 years of written history and all lakhs of years of unwritten history, never India has gone to conquer anybody. The other day, just 2 days back, I was just telling a small story in front of a small gathering in the same way through the video conferencing. For some who had attended that, it may be a repetition also. When we go to Cambodia, a country called Cambodia, which is there near our country itself, we see a small a pillar there in front of the parliament. On the pillar, there is a small boat. In a small boat, there is a human sculpture with some books on his laps and in the boat also. And if you go near to that pillar and look at the face of the person who is in that sculpture, you see it is an Indian face and it is not a Mongoloid face. Cambodia is a Mongoloid country. But the face in that sculpture, it is not a Mongoloid face, it is an Indian face. So then if you read at the plaque, there it tells this is the sculpture of Kamba, Maharshi Kamba, who came from India, who came from the Gurukula of Takshashila, and who became the king of Cambodia. Then the story goes like this. The Cambodia, it witnessed a great famine. After the great famine, there was a very peculiar disease which ate into the almost 50% of the society, and there was no medicine found out for that. It was just like the present day coronavirus. And the people were left in the lurch, and some among them, 4 or 5 people, they started their journey towards the Takshashila Gurukula. They came to the Gurukula, they bowed in front of the Guru and asked for medicine. And the Guru tells the medicine will be there itself. When we tell go vocal for local, here there is a philosophical context. It is not just some purchasing. Don't go just put it into purchasing some local items. It's a go vocal for local is a concept. Go vocal for local is a concept. It doesn't only mean purchasing the local product. It also means respecting the local traditions, participating in local fairs, participating in local Rathotsava, using the local dialects in which we were born, in the place in which we were born, the local tradition, the local culture, which has greater global meaning. They have the greater global meaning. So the Guru tells, no, the medicine will not be here. The medicine will be there at the origin of where the disease has originated. So he sends the graduate of the university, Takshashila University, whose name was Kamba, along with them. Kamba takes some books, that's all along with him. He doesn't take an army. After a few years, they reach there. After a little more year, then he found out the medicine also. He gives them the medicine. Then those people, they tell that, no, you have to stay here only. They give a girl from their country through marriage to him. He becomes a family man there. Then those people accept him as a king. They accept him as a king. And today, after all this, Cambodia is named after Kamba, who didn't conquer that country through military, but who influenced because of his virtues and values. This is the way India has performed from times immemorial till today. When we tell Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, this is the philosophical context that is there behind the Atmanirbhar Bharat. So we should not just understand Atmanirbhar Bharat just by telling that some export has to be increased, some industries have to be established, our GDP has to be increased, our foreign exchange reserves have to grow, our inflation has to be contained. They're there. I'm not negating it. They're there. But our Atmanirbhar Bharat, it is not that only that much. Our Atmanirbhar Bharat is not only that much. It is something beyond it. It is something greater than that. It also includes economy. It is not just economical. Even the Prime Minister on the other day also, he touched upon various facets of Atmanirbhar Bharat. He touched economy number 1. He touched infrastructure number 2. He touched system number 3. He touched vibrant democracy number 4. And he touched the demand number 5. And by telling the same thing, he told many other things also, which I will come to later. Our Atmanirbhar Bharat, for your kind attention, it contains 4 pillars. Our Atmanirbhar Bharat, it is based on Swabhimani Bharat. The first pillar is the Swabhimani Bharat. The second pillar is the Sashakta Bharat. The third pillar is the Sangatit Bharat. And the fourth pillar is the Ekatma Bharat. So with on these 4 pillars, rest the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat is not a single pole machinery called the economy. Atmanirbhar Bharat, it is also, it stands on Swabhimani Bharat, it stands on the pillar of Sashakta Bharat, it stands on the pillar of Sangatit Bharat, and also it stands on the pillar of the Ekatma Bharat. Along with that economy, it sees to it that the new global order is established because of the presence of a strong India. A global order not dictated by India, a global order not governed by India, a global order not by dictation by the India, but a global order which will be established because of the presence of India. We are a catalyst to that global order. We are not the leaders of that global order. We are catalyst to that global order. That we need to perfectly understand it. When we tell Swabhimani, it is Swabhiman. It is the pride about our culture. It's the pride. It is pride about our upbringing. It is pride about all the ancient values that are there in India. With the present day idea of Bharat, it negates every one of these. We are proud about everything that the present day left liberals call what is the idea of Bharat. It is total opposite of what it is. In real sense, this is the real idea of Bharat. It is not the idea of India that they are propagating, but it is the idea of Bharat that these ancient values reflect. When I tell Swabhimani Bharat, we are not only proud of it, but also we follow it. We also follow it. I'm happy that many of the people who are there on the platform today, when you look at their name, maybe I am the only person who doesn't have a surname or a village name attached to it. Every single person now, this has become a habit. The circle is completed. It is completing its turn. So the earlier, around 20 years back, the fashion was only names and no surnames or villages. But if you look at the Facebook account now, the Twitter account now, every single person, either along with his name, either he has a surname or he has a village name attached to it. And nobody is inimical to including their village name to it. Nobody is inimical to it. This is the change that is happening in the Indian society, and also across the globe it is happening. Going to the root has been the practice and fashion of the day now. Going to the people want to go to the roots, and they want to experience the roots, and they want to feel the roots. So going to the roots, this Swabhimani, the mentality of Swabhiman, this is the most fundamental pillar of our Atmanirbhar Bharat. At the same time, Sashakta Bharat. We have a famous saying by Swami Vivekananda that one who is weak cannot influence the world. You have to be strong to influence the world. Unless you are Sashakt, unless you can preserve your boundaries, unless you have a society which is in order, unless you can see to it that the protection of the country is in firm hand, you can't command respect. So that Sashakta Bharat, that is also a fundamental pillar of our Atmanirbhar Bharat. At the same time, Sangatit Bharat. If the society which is inside the border, the society that makes Bharat, the society that is the fundamental fulcrum of that Bharat, if it is not with oneness, if it is not Sangati, if it is not organized, then the country cannot move it. A chaotic society cannot lead a country to influence the global order. And we cannot have a society which is chaotic. A Sangatit Bharat should be there, and that also we have experienced during Corona crisis. The Sangatit Bharat of today, we should feel proud of it. Many of us always look at exceptions. The last 10% or last 1% or last 5%, last 0.5% of it, especially the present generation of social media warriors, we always start picking up at the last 1% or last 2%. But I want to draw your attention to the first 80%, 90%, 98% of the society, the behavior of the first 80, 90, 98% of the society during the last 80 days. During the last 80 days. Have you ever seen where in a country, 100% of the temples were closed because of the requisition of a society? It was a requisite of a society. Again, I will tell, 99.9% of the churches were also closed. The whole Christian society, it celebrated Easter from its homes. The whole Jain society, it celebrated Mahavir Jayanti in a very cordial, disciplined manner inside the houses. The whole Buddhist society, it also celebrated Buddha Jayanti inside the houses. And though there were some unruly elements in the Muslim society, 85 to 90% of the masjids, even till date, they are closed. I want to draw your attention to that 85, 90%, not to some unruly elements who are there on TikTok or on roads or something else. We need to look at both the phases of the coin. And 85 to 90% of the masjids, even today, they are closed. What you look at, if you look in the social media, are exceptions, not the general rule. When was it that it happened? 100% temple, 100% churches, 100% Buddha Vihar, 100% Jain temples. Almost 100% of the masjids which were closed because of the want of a society. When did it happen? We are a country with multi-party democracy. More than 10 parties have their chief ministers in the country. You look at the order, except for a state by name West Bengal and the chief minister of that state. The whole country, it is behaving like a one country. The whole country. There may be here and there some inefficiency. Some inefficiency may be there, but because that we have inherited. That is a different thing. But for the non-cooperation of Mamata Banerjee and the West Bengal government, the whole country is working with one order. The Kerala government, long back, around 60 days back, it came out with a circular telling that the liquor shops will be open. Liquor shops will be open. There is a communist government. Ideologically, totally opposite to the Bharatiya Janata Party-led government at the center. And we know every time they don't hold back any of the mud they want to throw at the central government. But the Ministry of Home Affairs, the same night, it issued a small circular telling them that the liquor shops cannot be opened during the lockdown. They shut it down the next day morning. Before the first shop got opened, they shut down and they took down the order itself. This is the way Indian democracy is working. It is not that somebody is ordering, somebody is following. Somebody is telling and somebody is understanding. Somebody is understanding. When some people tell that Modi forced a lockdown on this country with just a margin of 4 hours, they are complaining it. But I feel it is a big certificate for the Indian society. He announced the lockdown at 12 midnight, and he announced the lockdown at 8:05 or 8:06. 5th or 6th minute into his speech, he announced that by 12 o'clock we'll have lockdown. And the country followed it. You saw the way the Janata curfew, you saw the way 80 to 90% of this country has followed the guidelines. And that is Sangatit Bharat. That is Sangatit Bharat. It is inspired by a leadership, but the society has to inculcate a sense of belongingness toward the social order and the country so that it becomes Sangatit. And that's at the same time the Ekatma Bharat. The country is gearing up for it. After 70 years of Nehru era and socialism, where divisiveness was the order of the day, every nuts and bolts were allowed to loosen as far as the unity of the country was concerned. In the last 10 to 15 years, it started with Narasimha Rao. I need to give him a little credit also, because we can't withhold the credit to right person. It started with him, and it developed during Atalji's time, and now it is going with full steam in the times of Manya Narendra Modi's time. We are again experiencing, because of the inherent values of the society, because of the inherent qualities that the Hindu society, the Bharatiya society had, that Ekatma Bharata is also coming to the fore now. So our Atmanirbhar Bharat, it is not an economic remodeling of the country. There is economic remodeling of the country at the center of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, but at the same time, it is Swabhimani Bharat, which is proud about its inheritance, which is proud about its culture, which is proud about its upbringing. It is Sashakta Bharat, making India strong, and it is a Sangatit Bharat, one India, and it is also the Ekatma India. So with these four pillars, India wants to walk into the future as a Atmanirbhar Bharat. Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyaya, in his Ekatma Manava Darshan, he laid the seeds of this idea, which Honorable Prime Minister picked it up there. And he told what is the India has to be developed, but development with what parameters? And development, it cannot be without boundaries. Development cannot be without borders. And development cannot be without a framework. And for everything in the society, in human civilization and society, there has to be a framework for it. When we tell development, it is economy. It is the three pillars of, again, the three pillars of development should be, number one is economy, the number two is ecology, number three, the foremost thing is ethics. The kind of economy that is being practiced now, which we have borrowed from the West and which is practiced throughout the world, it is unethical. It doesn't have compassion at all. It doesn't have, on one extreme there is communism, economic model, and another on the other on the other end there is the concept of capitalism on the other extreme. And between these two, the mankind is suffering. It is suffering because there is no compassion or there is no economy. In communism there is no economy at all. In capitalism there is no human element at all. So when we tell development, it includes all three. And it is economical upliftment, it is balancing the ecology, and also based on ethics. It is based on ethics. When we tell many controversies going around coronavirus, virus is not a new thing for human society. In last 100 years, we have had more than 70 major virus attacks across the globe. We have more than 70 major attacks, including all these things, H1N1, AIDS virus, polio virus, everything we had it. But what is the peculiarness of coronavirus is the origin of it, the way WHO has handled it, telling on January 15th, exactly January 15th, repeating again on February 15th, on 2 dates I am telling. It cannot be, it is not transmittable between humans. It was told on January 15th. It is not transmittable between two humans. But that is what happening today. The second one on February 15th, they told there is no need for banning of flights. It doesn't transmit through human beings. And every single country in this world got the virus not because of the sea route, not because of the land route, not because of air, not because of water. It got the virus because of the flights. It got virus because of the Milan got the virus because of the direct flights from Wuhan. Every single country got the virus because of the flights, the people coming through the flights. But the WHO told, no, it is not transferable. It is not transmittable through the human beings. And the problem, the absence of ethics in it. If a management doesn't have ethics, if a medical professional doesn't have an ethics, if an intellectual doesn't have ethics, if a professional doesn't have an ethics, if a politician doesn't have an ethics, what will happen that we are experiencing during COVID-19 crisis? This is all the absence of the ethics. So Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyaya told, whenever there is a development take place, it should have an economic component, it should have a ecological component, and also it should have an ethical component. When Prime Minister Modi ji on May 12, he came in front of the country, so everybody was just waiting for him to announce the rules and regulations of lockdown 4. And our Prime Minister knows what is his job and what is officer's job. He doesn't mix up, because many of the politicians whom we observe in our everyday life, across the political spectrum, I don't spare any party for it, including my own party also. Across the political spectrum, it is something like a present day cinema. In present day cinema, you find the same person, he is a hero, he is hero during first hour, during second hour, he is a joker, and during the third hour, he becomes a villain also. Nowadays, there is no different characters for hero, different characters for joker, and different characters for villains. All three are in the same person. At the same time, even the politicians also the same. They are policy makers at the first hour. They are the PROs at the second hour, and they also do the field inspection also at the third hour. So everything they think that they can do everything and they have to do everything. And our Prime Minister hasn't come from that mold. And he knows what his job is and what the officer's job is. He knows there is a press conference at 4 o'clock to give the details of what all, how many deaths have happened, how many people have recovered, how many tests have happened. He knows that at 4 o'clock there is a press conference. And his job is not telling numbers. His job is not telling numbers. If you tell number, then these liberals can come and tell that it is not the Prime Minister's job to give the numbers, it is the officer's job. If you don't give the number, they start telling you how to give the number. He doesn't fall prey to anything else. He came on the television that day when we were feeling that he will relax the lockdown or he will continue the lockdown. He took us to a different plane on that day for Atmanirbhar Bharat. He has been working on it for quite a few years now. When he told New India by 2022, had already told New India by 2022, there were seeds of Atmanirbharata in that New India of 2022. Continuously during the lockdown with various stakeholders, he was discussing how to utilize this into an opportunity, how to convert this challenge into an opportunity, how we can see that after survival, after revival, how can we excel, how can we thrive. When 22 comes, after 36 years, we meet the Industrial Revolution 150 years ago. We met 40 years ago the digital revolution. Except for Y2K, India has not got hold of any of the revolution at the right time. We met the industrial revolution bus. We met the digital revolution bus also. And we may miss the artificial intelligence and various kinds of other sixth generation technology bus also if we are not attentive. He doesn't want to miss that bus. He wants to see that the country grabs them. So his continuous effort was, while setting up the infrastructure for handling the COVID crisis, the continuous effort was the government of how to convert this challenge into an opportunity. And there came Atmanirbhar Bharat. There came the Atmanirbhar Bharat. The seeds of it were there already in the concept of New India by 2022. In the Prime Minister's address of Independence Day, just the gone Independence Day, that is 2019 August 15, he had already used the word of purchasing the Desi production. He had already told the village-made product. He had told local product you have to purchase. He went on a bang this time. When he came on TV, every one of us were thinking that he will talk something on lockdown. But he took the country to a different plane and he will keep doing it. We need to adjust our pace to his pace so that coupled with that pace, India can grow stronger. India can grow into the rightful place in the history as far as the global order is concerned. He came with 5 concepts of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Number 1, economy, which is not linear, but a quantum jump. Not today. Many people tell that when people are walking on road, where will be the quantum jump? It is not today. And these visions for the next 3 years, the seeds have to be sown now. The plants have to be watered in a little more days, in the coming days. The plants have to be watered and then the fruit can be plucked. This is the time for seeding. After 2 or 3 months, we need to water the plants. And after a few years, we need to pluck the fruit and not become content, but we should grow more new plants. Economy, not linear, but quantum jump. We are laying the seeds for it. An infrastructure which will represent a modern India, not the dilapidated infrastructure. When he talks of many big things, it is not the dilapidated things that we think. It is the infrastructure which represents modern India, the 21st century India. There are many plans in the closets of the government. It will come over. Once this crisis blows over, when we are capable, we are already capable of living along with the crisis also. Once this crisis blows over, or we get used to the crisis, the things will start coming out. We need infrastructure. He told first is economy, quantum jump. The second one is the infrastructure for a modern India, which represents modern India. The third one is the system, which is technology driven. Not the age-old or a section of the society, it loves it, the file-driven. It is not the file-driven, but the technology-driven. Because people, even today, many governments, they talk of handing over cash. Why? There is very easy pilferage in it. There is very easy pilferage in it. And when the Honorable Prime Minister and the NDA government at the center, it hands out cash. It is not through cash, it is through DBT. Whatever the policy the government is making, everything it is making through technology driven, so that the pilferage is zero. You know the famous sentence of Rajiv Gandhi: if I send 100 paisa from here, 1 rupee from here, you know that how much it reaches. And but today, if Prime Minister tells I am sending 1 rupee, you will receive 1 rupee. You will receive 1 rupee, because there are no dalals in between. A system which is technology driven. The vibrant demography that we have, and the 63% of the young employable population that we have, and with this advantage of demography, we will have for next 33 years. For next 33 years, India will have more than 50% of the employable age. We need to utilize this demographical advantage that we have, and at the same time creating the demand locally, and also to see that we capture the global supply chains, and we are doing it already. We are doing it already in a small manner. So how we are doing it? I will give you a few examples. When the crisis started, India had 3 laboratories which could test coronavirus. And today we have 577 laboratories across the country. We had 3 laboratories. Today we have 577 laboratories. On the first week of the crisis, in February, we had few kits, few thousand kits, which were distributed across the country. We were doing few hundred tests every day. And yesterday, day before yesterday, and 4 days in last 5 days, India has tested 1 lakh samples per day. 4 out of 5 lakh days, India has tested 1 lakh samples on 4 days continuously. Now, 8 institutes of the country, they have designed the testing kits. India is manufacturing the testing kits. India is self-sufficient in RT-PCR testing kits. And in next 6 to 8 weeks, by the end of June or by the middle of the July, India will be producing 5 lakh kits per day, which is more than sufficient. Already, I am telling you the numbers. Already, India is the 3rd biggest testing country in the world. And we are 3rd only to America, Russia, and then India. We are 3rd only to America and Russia. We are the largest testing nation now itself and today itself. And we will have 5 lakh test kits per day by end of June or by July 15th. And now India, as far as testing kit is concerned, we can export it also. We had no PPE. We had some plastic raincoat across the country, which even Mamata Banerjee provided it to her doctors at the initial stage before the government started central government started providing PPE kits. Along with biodegradable PPE kits, I'm telling you, note it down if you want. Along with biodegradable PPE kits, along with reusable PPE kits, India is producing 3 lakh PPE kits per day in 600 manufacturing units across the country, starting from Bangalore cluster, Tirupur Chennai cluster, Bhiwandi Thane cluster, Kanpur cluster, and Ludhiana Gurugram cluster. In these 5 clusters, India is producing 3 lakh PPE kits per day. And if the government gives the go-ahead now, which it will not give for some reasons now, because we want to build up the stock also for eventuality, we will be exporting PPE kits by the end of this month. We'll be exporting. We didn't have a single PPE kit manufacturer. We have Citra tested coverall PPE kits. Citra is a testing for it, for the coverall, for the fabric that is used for the PPE kits. N95 mask, especially the Visakhapatnam cluster, it is producing it in lakhs. More than 1.3 lakhs N95 masks have been produced. And today we have 8 institutes working on the vaccine also. 8 institutes working on the vaccine. And as I hear from the ground, the results have been very encouraging. And many scientists are telling that the vaccine will come from India. The virus has come from China and the vaccine will come from India. This has been the saying of the many well-meaning expert scientists. And 8 groups are working on the vaccine. And this is the way India is moving forward. After the Atmanirbhar announcement of Honorable Prime Minister and the Atmanirbhar package of the government, 3 things happened. Number 1, the government banned all global tenders, global tender in all tenders less than 250 crore rupees. Our own MSMEs can attend it. Yesterday, 26 products of for the it is the not the whole system. It is the 26 products which are used in defense production. They were taken out of the export list by the defense industry from the defense department, by the defense department. They were taken out of the import list, and all these 26 items henceforth will be produced in the country and procured from the Indian industries. This is the second step. Within 10 days, it's happening. The Ministry of Home Affairs has is allowing only Indian-made goods in all police canteens. Only Indian-made goods in all police canteens. Slowly, the vibrations are felt at the ground also. I'm not going into the whole details of the package because that's not required. But 3 lakh crores of collateral-free loan are being provided for MSME, for small-scale industries with government guarantee. I'm repeating, 3 lakh crores of loan are being provided for MSMEs without any collateral through government guarantee in the days to come. And already the UP, Bihar, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu government, Telangana government, they are conducting loan melas for MSMEs. Loan melas for MSMEs. The government is also working on one district, one product model, which was based out of UPN. One district, one model across the country for all 770 districts. One district, one model, one district, one product, which is export oriented. The government is working on that. Working on that. And we had only 20,000 ventilators when the crisis began. Today, India is manufacturing more than 60,000 ventilators, of which the delivery has already started. And by June end, more than 60,000 ventilators, it will be provided to the healthcare services of the country. This is the way India is moving forward as far as Atmanirbhar Bharat is concerned. Prime Minister at the same time, he told go vocal for local also. Here lies the secret of the whole Atmanirbhar package. When you tell go vocal for local, then the production at the local level will start increasing. And that at the same time, the problem of migrant laborer will also be addressed to a very large extent by going vocal for the local. Once they get employment in their own villages, nobody will move to the bigger cities. And this crisis of migrant labor, that was the only crisis. That was the only crisis. It was a human crisis. But the government managed it well. And in spite of the opposition trying to fiddle in it throughout last 15 days, the government has managed it well. But still there are people on the road. And we have total sympathies for them. We have total sympathies for them. Our whole day is got to do some kind of arrangement for them so that they can shift it to the villages. Shifting them to the villages is only first part of the story. What later? What after? Manrega is not an answer. Government funded schemes are never an answer for any problem. And people should stand up on their own legs. When country has to stand up on its own legs, people should stand up on their own legs. And there lies the secret of go vocal for local. If the local production picks up, people will get employment around their villages. They can stay with their families. There will be no emotional drain also. There will be no economic drain also. And the country is going for a big change as far as go vocal for locals also. That also can be the GEM portal that the government has introduced. All these things will come in handy for it. For the last, as I told, for the last several years, the government has been preparing on this front, and the Atmanirbhar announcement of the Prime Minister and also the package came at the back end of the thing. You see some of the things that I will tell you, that one country, one tax. We started rationalizing the tax structure. One country, one ration card. Now everybody is understanding the utility of it. With that ration card, if you go on a month-long tour, wherever you go, you can have ration from the PDS shop there. Wherever you go, you can have it. It is just like an ATM card, and you can draw money wherever you go. The one country, one ration card, many people hadn't understood its significance, but every single person is understanding its significance. You go on a yatra, you go on a long travel, migrant labor, they can take their ration card to Mumbai. Migrant labor, they can take their ration card to Bangalore, purchase the PDS ration material from the shop. They need not come back to their village. And if the husband is there in Mumbai and the wife is there in Uttar Pradesh, the wife's quota, she can take it in Uttar Pradesh PDS shop. The husband's quota, he can take it in Mumbai shop, because it is digitally managed. One country, one ration card, one country, one tax, one country, one grid. There is no drop of grid now, collapse of grid. We had an experience in 2013. For 7 days, Northern grid had collapsed. 3 days, there was no total power. And one country, one grid, we have it. One country, one market. The government is attempting now. The APMC shackles have been broken. Now the farmer can sell it to anybody he wants. And with eNAM, electronically connected National Agricultural Market, now the farmer can sell it to anybody. And now the legal frame for that, selling it to anybody, and also pre-crop selling has also been introduced now. The legislation is about to come, and one country, one RuPay card. Slowly RuPay is making giant strides, putting into worry the Visa and the MasterCard owner. RuPay is making a very giant steps. And one country, one RuPay card will also come into existence in a few more years. the concept of institutional excellence, the concept of aspirational district, every single one of them, these were for the wholesome development of this country, which the culminated in the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat during the Prime Minister's address. The government is building upon whatever the momentum it has generated after the address and after the package. The government is building upon it, and one by one the orders are getting released. And now it is the role of the society to respond it. Our society was held back for all these 75 years because of the Nehruvian economics. We had the capacity, but our aims were lesser. Many of our seniors used to tell low aim is a crime, but in spite of that, we used to be content with low aim. Even the people who could rise higher also, they were also content with low aim, though they understood what low aim was a crime. Aspirations were there, but scaling up was very rare. Aspirations were there, the capacity was there, but the scaling up was very rare. And that India, whose mind test was always held back, that has to be unshackled, is the principal work that we have to do. Government is bringing up various policy changes so that the capacity of the country's youth, the capacity of the country's intellect, the capacity of the country's professional can be unshackled. It can be unshackled. That unshackling has to be done by the government at the policy level, and those initiatives have to be taken to the society by every one of us who are participating here, and every single citizen of this country. Every single citizen of this country. There are many software engineers in this group who are listening to my words. And can we build up a connect between a single product of a single village to an apartment block in our city in Mumbai, Delhi, or Bangalore somewhere? Single product of a single village to a single apartment block, and we will be doing an yeoman service for the farmers of that locality. We'll be doing an yeoman service. There are hundreds of people who have devoted their life for it. This is the way comes move forward, because the country, it is like, as it has been told in Purusha Sukta, Sahasraksha Sahasrapa, it moves with 1,000 legs and 1,000 hands. It cannot with one person. Every single person should move, and so that we can we do it. And at the same time, we should be rooted in the local, whatever we tell as Swadeshi. Three things that we need to inculcate is what I feel, along with economy, along with going vocal for local, Swadeshi, Swabhasha, and Swabhusha. That creates the Swabhimani Bharat. That creates the Ekatma Bharat. From long time, our organizations have been telling all these three words. This is not a new word, I'm using it. I'll start with Swabhasha, Swabhusha, and Swadeshi. Swabhasha, only three things were discussed. Number one, purchase one local language or mother tongue paper. Read it. You can read the whole gamut of English newspapers, no problem. But purchase one local language or mother tongue newspaper. Read it. Inside the house, don't use English words, but use the mother tongue words. It may be for mother, it may be for a brother, it may be for sister, or it may be for the items on your dinner table. You use Indian words for it. Don't use English words for it. The number three, signature is an identity. It is not a language. Sign in your language. Start signing in your language. Lawsuits have been won in US also, telling that signature is only an identity. It is not a language. You can't compel us to sign in English and sign in your language. And these are all small things that make a huge change. Small things that make a huge change. When crores of people start doing it, they get rooted in their culture. They get rooted in their culture. Number one, Swabhasha. The second one, Swabhusha. The Indian traditional dresses, the Indian wears, and wherever it can be. I'm not telling at 100%, but wherever it can be. Going to a temple with all the modern dresses, it's not advisable. It's not advisable. It is not required also. Swabhusha, Swabhasha, Swabhusha, and Swadeshi, go vocal for local. Wherever you can purchase quality products at the local level, purchase it. If you don't have quality products, inspire somebody to build the quality production. I have a classmate. I'm fortunate enough to have a classmate who, during this crisis, he started manufacturing the tube that has to be inserted to the lungs in a ventilator, which was hitherto not manufactured in India at all. And today, he is supplying to the whole country, to all manufacturers. It is a one-time usable. Every day you have to remove it. The tube that is inserted to the lung in ventilators. This is scaling up our capacity, rising to the occasion. And can we do it? And wherever we have got local product, can we purchase it? Again, it is not branded Indian product. It is unbranded local production. Branded Indian product, okay. As a first step, let us produce it, let us purchase it. But can we go for an unbranded local product, which is as good as the branded Indian or branded multinational product? This is the third thing we need to follow. Every single citizen of this country, every single son and daughters of this soil, they have a duty in this Atmanirbhar package. It is not Modi's concept, and it is not Modi will deliver it to our house. No, he has delivered the concept. He will see to it that the policy changes are made, and every one of us have got a role in it. Can we do this, Swadesha, Swabhasha, Swabhusha, Swadeshi? Can we handle this? The country's youth, the country's population in general. As I told earlier, it has to be made understood the four pillars of our Atmanirbhar Bharat. That is Swabhimani, Sangatit, Sashakta, and Ekatma Bharat concept. They have to be made. If the country's youth, the sons and daughters of this country don't understand it, country cannot be brought forward by a single person or a single party or a single system. There was Anglo-French War in 17th century. The French, though bigger in number, though they were strong enough to defeat the British army, the Anglo army, they lost the war. They lost the war. Somebody asked the French general, what is the reason? In spite of being strong enough, in spite of having more weaponry on your side, in spite of having more numbers on your side, why is it that you got defeated? Why the French army was defeated? And he tells, and that particular French general tells, England won the war in the football fields of Britain, and France lost the war in the nightclubs of Paris. This was the sentence of a general. It's not some historian or some social scientist. The general told England won the war in the football clubs of Manchester. Sorry, not England. In the football clubs of Manchester. And France lost the war in the nightclubs of Paris. When the sons and daughters of the soil, they become directionless. If they become self-centric, then if they become easygoing in approach, the Atmanirbhar Bharat will only be a talk of the town. That's all. If Atmanirbhar has to happen on the ground, this country's youth have to be given the direction with the Prime Minister is giving, and everyone needs to join the hands. The country's youth, the sons and daughters of this soil, they have to be purposeful. They have to be purposeful. And we tell purposeful, it has to be an Indian way. It has to be a Bharatiya way. It has to be a way that has been followed in this country for centuries together. I will end my speech by a single very, very relevant sentence by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. It is a very relevant sentence for this topic is what I feel. I told in earlier meetings also in my party. Rabindranath Tagore, in one of his speeches, he tells that every country is given a different question paper by God. Every country is given a different question paper by God. You have to answer your question paper and pass the exam. Number one, you have to answer your question paper and pass the exam. If you copy from others, you are bound to fail because their question paper and your question paper are different. You can copy and pass only when the question paper is similar. When the question paper itself is different, if you copy, then you are bound to fail. What Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore told is, again I will repeat, God gives different question papers to every country. Every country has to answer its question paper. If you copy from others, you are bound to fail. If you want to pass, answer your question paper. God has given us a question paper. We need to answer it. The formula for answering it is Atmanirbhar Bharat. Let us answer the questions put into the modern times have put in front of us through Atmanirbharata, and let us be a global power in Indian, Hindu, and Bharatiya sense. Let us be a global power in Indian, Hindu, Bharatiya sense, not in Western context. Thank you.
There is always a feeling of being speechless, I think, and the capacity to absorb goes to the brim. Because from the observations that I have been following here, we have had 350 plus people who have joined us. I think, Shri Santoshji, you have said exactly what we had expected, hoped from this evening. The comments that are coming in, your expounding on the vision, the ideational, the philosophical, as well as the practical on one aspect, and our duties in order to be able to answer that question paper, in order to be able to become active, conscious, driven components towards the creation of Atmanirbhar Bharat, I think that has come across fascinatingly, inspiringly, and a great amount of motivation and direction, which was actually required at this point of time. Swabhiman, Sashakt, and Sangathit Bharat, and Swadeshi, Swabhusha, and Swabhasha. These are the foundational pillars. At the same time, you also reminded us, very interestingly, you actually articulated India's geostrategic approach to a new world order. You reminded us how Krinvantu Vishwamaryam, in contrast and contradistinction to the Chinese concept, and so beautifully put, and it is so true, of treating the world as a subsidiary and of everything under the heaven belonging to them. I think it is also important that when you say that India rises not to control, but to contribute, I think all of us have absorbed different, I think we have absorbed a lot of dimensions from here. It's very difficult to articulate all that you have packed in this address of 1 hour. And I think there was 1 or 2 questions that we'll take. But each one of us go back from this discussion, from this address, convinced of what Atmanirbhar Bharat is, convinced of how it is to drive India towards a certain goal, and also extremely motivated, if to use a very cliched word, in absence of a better word, inspired and motivated to do our bit. In times of, and when you say that in the last 100 years, the world has seen so many such pandemics, so many types, and again you have described the difference of this one. But in such times when many things are upturning, many of our fundamental conditioning is also breaking apart. These are what you have given is extremely important for us to be rooted. Now, I would, with your permission, I'll request Bipul Chatterjee had a specific question. I would ask Bipul Chatterjee to please come in and put your specific question. Okay. No, I think actually there is.
Namaskar Anirban ji, Namaskar Santosh ji.
Yes, please come in, Bipulda, please come in.
Santosh ji has enlightened us. It is our responsibility to imbibe and practice it. The concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat that Santosh ji has explained to us is also about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Viswas. Not just for India, for the entire world, for the Vishwa. And I'm very glad that Santosh ji has talked about one district, one product. And that should be the pillar of everything that we are talking about. For a long, long time, I have not heard such a speech which has invigorated me, and I'm sure others. Thank you.
Thank you. I would request everyone to please type your question here. We have a question here from Suraj Balakrishnan. How do we deal with anti-national elements in our country sitting at home in a COVID scenario? Arun Iyengar, please ask your question so that I can read it out.
I can answer that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, there are various kinds of anti-national forces. We should not get into handling everybody from our own side. There are some anti-national forces who have to be handled by the military and the intelligence. There are some anti-national forces who have to be handled by the police. There are some anti-nationals who have to be handled by some other legal agencies, and some anti-nationals have to be handled by us, and some anti-nationals have to live left for little more time. It's not that tolerating or something, and they will die on their own. And die, and I'm not telling physically, but their concept of whatever the idea of whatever the society is. The people with whom we have to handle, we have to engage them. And that engagement differs from person to person. It's not again uniform. Not scolding everybody or not educating everybody. The truth lies somewhere in between. And my only point is this is a very big forum, or this is I can't explain it in very detail. Though I'm not worried about the forum, but the time and that section of the society which we have to engage. That engagement we have to do it. There are two parts of it. One, engaging with the nationalist anti-national forces. The second one is educating the other society, the other part of the society, which is conscious about the country, about the various phases of these anti-national forces. Various phases of this. These are artists, these are press reporters, these are cultural people, these are authors, these are proponents of humanity, but in their individual life, they are the totally antithesis of it. We need to educate them. They fight for our rights, but their direction is something else. When we feel that they are fighting our rights, but they are leading us in some wrong way, all these things need to be educated. That requires a careful calibration from our side. Many a times what we want to do is we engage with the terrorists from Pakistan also on social media, and at the same time we engage with the next door neighbor who is arguing against some concept in our country also on the social media. This is waste of time. So some have to be handled by the security forces, some have to be handled by the police, some have to be handled by the legal system, some have to be left for little more time. And the fourth character, there we have to engage in different ways, is what I want to tell you now in a cryptic way. Let's discuss for a period of time what we have to do it. We should hold on our arsenal for better utilization. Many people, we spend our arsenal for every Tom, Dick or Harry and for every single thing, and that you need not do it. Your energy should be conserved for spreading positivity and also handling what we can handle. These two things we should be. Anirban unmute. Not audible, Anirban.
The host is repeatedly muting me. I don't. I think there is a specific question on the condition of farmers. Santoshji has answered that, but
What is the question? I didn't touch farmers.
The question is, can I put a question somebody has asked regarding the plight of the farmers today?
Number one, the farmers' plight, it is not just because of COVID crisis, and the farmers' crisis there even before the crisis also. There are a few positive points that I like to mention. There are some policy intervention that has been done. Some things it has to be taken at a later time. Number one, we will have a very good monsoon. That is a very cheering news for everyone, and it has already started in some parts of the southern hemisphere. Southern peninsula. It will continue. We will have a good monsoon. And even during COVID crisis also, I will tell you two important things. The union government and the state government together as one single entity, they have purchased the highest amount of wheat that was ever produced in a single calendar year. This time, number one. And they have purchased the highest number of metric tons of bales of cotton in a single year, anywhere purchased in a country in a single calendar year. Anywhere in the world, in a single calendar year. And at the same time, at the state level also, the Karnataka has announced a policy for the purchase of maize, and Telangana has announced the purchase of with MSP, the purchase of paddy. These are the second thing that are happening on the ground. Number third thing that is happening at the policy level is, number one, the stranglehold of the APMCs have been wished away now through the policy intervention. Now the farmer through ENAM and some other technology-driven system, he can sell his product to anywhere in the country to whoever he gives a better price, number one. No farmer or no trader will be bound by the Essential Commodity Act henceforth, where we have in which we have ample production like oil seeds, food grain, dairy products, animal husbandry. Where we have excess production, the Food Security Act, the Essential Commodities Act has been made away with them. The third one is the farmers can make pre-sowing contract with the purchaser or the aggregator now. Before you sow paddy, before you sow maize, or before you sow some horticultural products or floricultural products, you can make arrangement with the aggregators so that they will pay such and rate based on the market conditions and the various weather forecasting, which is bound by law. Till today, it was not bound by law. Now it is bound by law. The legislation has come up. An ordinance will also be issued. That will also be taken care of. So, and the food processing, micro fruit processing industry. You have some capacity of tomato production in your village. Now you can form a small farmers cooperative, which will convert the tomato into either into sauce or ketchup or jam or whatever it is. There itself, with value addition, you can sell it. The micro food enterprises, MFEs, they have been sanctioned 3,000 crore rupees in the package, and the order has already through. The last cabinet meeting, the order was also released. And at the same time, some 20,000 crore rupees of food processing industries have also get the package. That is also on the anvil. So these are the various things that have been taken care of. But in spite of that, I will agree that farmer distress is continuing. We need to handle it. It is top on government's agenda.
I'll request Jyoti Kiranji to briefly come in with your question. Dr. Jyoti Kiranji. You have to unmute.
Yeah, I've unmuted.
Yeah.
Namaskar, Santoshi. What an invigorating and comprehensive view with overall understanding and, having an organic link with Ekatma Manavvad and Antyodaya, from Antyodaya to Atmanirbhar. It's a journey which you've explained. Thank you very much. It's been quite an experience. I just have one small comment to make, which is you made a very, I think that's the first remark I've ever heard in last 3, 4, 5 days, that you said that the rural areas now would be empowered in a very different way because Manrega is not the answer. And these migrant laborers who are going back would be assuming some kind of employment there. My only supplementary suggestion and observation is this, that we have to strengthen the panchayats equally to absorb all the additional arrangement and all the additional civic responsibility. Being an ex-chairperson of the Finance Commission, I have studied panchayats deeply, and this kind of influx and this kind of additional quantum labor force which is reaching the panchayats would require this kind of an comprehensive and simultaneous arrangement, both ways, through the finance commissions and through the the government arrangements too. Thank you very much for the time.
Government is on the job. Various sections of the Atmanirbhar package is based on this, whatever the idea that you have shared it. And I can tell you, I have personally heard in a group that the UP Chief Minister and Bihar Chief Minister, especially the two Chief Ministers, who have seen how their states people, their state subjects were without any proper arrangements were thrown out of some of the states. They have made a very concrete, they have concrete blueprint, at least to assimilate half of the migrant population in their own states. And they have a definite plan for it, both the states. At least half of the population should not return to towns and cities. Already the first company, 800 crore rupees worth of investment has come to UP from a German shoemaking company. So if it is 800 crore investment, at least you can feel secure that some 2,000 people will not go back to the cities that had thrown them out, or the states from where they were not even given proper arrangements. So both the chief ministers, I have personally heard tell him that at least we will plan in such a way that 50% of the people will be assimilated. If that happens, and if this go vocal for local, if it picks up in right speed, I think a big part of my, not 100%, I'm not speculative or I don't tell sweeping sentences. This will always be there in the modern economy. But to a fair extent, we can solve this migrant problem that had occurred during this crisis.
I think we have a time constraint because it's taken a lot of time, Santoshji. I want to point out here there's a very perceptive comment which we all feel this way. The highlight was what should be done by each one of us was crystal clear examples. I think that has also come out very clearly, our duties and roles and responsibilities. Now, we just take 2 more questions. Arun Iyengar has a question, but you have not typed it. Please ask your question, Arun Iyengar. And Rakesh CR has a question. Please ask your questions if you are here. Otherwise, because most of it, I mean, there are 90+ comments which have come and observations. which
But you
itself
can make a
will,
record and read it. You
yes,
take one
yes,
or two questions enough.
yes,
Uh,
exactly.
My pranamas, Santoshji. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, yes. Only thing is, I am interacting with the businessman, and these people, what I am getting is in the sense, they're like demotivated because of this crisis. Okay, irrespective of the economics, they want something motivational talks, in the sense, something to survive. I guess you got my point.
Yes.
More than the money, now living is a very challenging one. So most of the businessmen need some motivational talks, which I believe Santoshji can do that.
Not myself alone. There are large institutions are getting into the job. I'll tell you some very good things. Like there is a small startup by name Agua Life Care Limited. They have designed a ventilator. They approached Maruti Infrastructure, which was lying very idle during the Corona crisis. Now they are manufacturing 10,000 ventilators. Another startup in Mumbai, they got in touch with Mahindra and Tata Facilities. They are manufacturing ventilators now. This is the kind of tie-ups that are happening. You have the facility, I have the technological prowess. So let us tie together. These are the things that are happening. And the demotivation at this point of time is very, 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 very natural. Accept it. Only if you accept it, you can proceed further. It is very well because their orders are cancelled, their supply chains have been disturbed, they don't have any fresh orders. I don't know, they don't know from where the orders will come. Anything, because it is at that level they are operating. So their demotivation is quite, you can understand it, you have to sympathize with it. Swadeshi Jagaran that has taken up a big movement from May 25th there, where it will reach 700 clusters of small scale industries during the first year of Modi 2.0, which comes on May 30th. The party and also the government is planning to reach out to some 1,000 clusters who can be made export oriented, who have got the capacity in them and the quality in their production. We are also planning to reach out to some 1,000 clusters over a period of 15 days. So we are getting up to do it. But even today, Arunji, the whole country is immersed in these cases numbers. So the country has to come out of this case number. It has to start looking at the recovery numbers, which has reached to the maximum across the globe. I'll tell you, as far as COVID is concerned, I'll tell you three big things. Number one, our recovery rate is the highest in the world. And it is 41% as on today. And before May end, I think today is May 22nd. I think by May 30th, if God wills, and if the country's healthcare also performs to its same level, we will have 50% recovery rate. Believe it.
Fantastic.
50%. So if you have 1 lakh patient, 1 lakh cases, only 50,000 will be there in healthcare. This is one big thing. Every single person who is on this platform should remember. We have 41% of the patients out of hospital. That is number one. Number two, our mortality rate. The number of deaths. It is the least in the globe. It is the least in the globe. Today it is 3.08%. It is least in the globe. By many things, and it may be because of the BCG vaccine, it may be because of the health care that are getting, or it may be because of the lockdown announced by the Prime Minister at the right time, or it may be because of various other reasons. But we have the least mortality rate. Out of that mortality rate also, 74% is comorbidity. They have some other serious diseases. So they are dying. It is only 27% which is because of the corona virus. The third one that I want to tell you, very, very, very important thing is, number one, you have, as on today, I am telling, as on today, we have less than 300 people on ventilator. You have to digest the number. You cannot digest the number also very easily because it is so low. You have 300, only less than 300 persons on ventilator. You have less than 800 people on oxygen. You have less than 2,000 people in ICU. Rest everybody is in very, very normal ward. No medicine. They have to stay there for 14 days before they can be checked out because of negative testing. They are there. They are given some paracetamol tablet. They are given some azithromycin. They are given some immunity-based Ayurvedic kada. They are given some homeopathic tablets, and that's all. I'm not trivializing the problem. Again, don't feel that I am trivializing the problem. Number one, our recovery rate highest in the world. It is 41% today. It will rise to 50% if God will by end of May, which is a big, big, big morale booster for the country and for the economy to move forward, jump forward. The second one, our mortality rate is the least across the world with this kind of this thing. Across the country, if you add up the countries, totally the first 10 countries who have a total population of 127 crore, their total death is around 1,30,000. 1,30,000. We with a population of 130 crore, today we have 3,400 or 3,500 to be exact. The third one, the patients on ventilator, on oxygen, inside ICU is less than 3% of the total cases. The rest everybody are in general health care. General health care. And our scientists are assuring us that the vaccine will come out of India. If that also happens, nobody can stop us. Nobody can stop us. With this conviction and with this strength of information, I think every one of you should motivate also. We are also getting in that mold. We'll be announcing the party programs also, and the government is also working on it so that it can engage with the stakeholders in clusters, and each cluster how to make it to the global standards, how to take it to the global standard. Government is also working on it. We will do it. It's a good suggestion. We'll do it. Four Ayurvedic medicine trials are also going on. To be specific, 4 Ayurvedic compositions are also going on trial now.
I want to, I think,
We'll end up.
yes, we can.
Only one clarification I need to do it. One of the comments I couldn't read it fully.
Yes.
When I mentioned West Bengal, it is not the state, nor the population, nor the people there. It is only the Mamata Banerjee-led government, which has been totally non-cooperative, inhumane, and which is troubling the whole state of it. The society is again, it is as the society of across the country is behaving. The society of West Bengal has been behaving very responsibly, especially the health warriors. They are par excellence. They are par excellence there. They are giving their life to serving people and patients. But it is the government led by Mamata Banerjee which is problem. Only when I tell West Bengal, it is very limited to some 100, 200 people in the upper echelons of Mamata Banerjee's party. That's all.
I think it is extremely clear, and it gives us a lot of drive as well. I really want to thank you, Santoshji, and I want to tell everyone here that we not only have recorded this address, special address, which was indeed a special address. There were many addresses which go by name of special, but there's often nothing very special in it. This was a special address, and we have recorded. It will be hosted on our website. And there are suggestions, so we propose to also translate this at least in 3 or 4 other major languages, that as many languages as we can. I want to thank Shri B.L. Santoshji for giving us this direction, for really making our day today. And a lot of our answers have been, questions have been answered, and the much needed direction that all of us who had gathered here, 300 plus people needed, we have also received our direction in our field from this special address. I want to thank all of you who have joined here from across the country, and who have taken time off because of your commitment, because of your zeal and aspiration to better understand the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat that Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has given us. I think we go back the richer from here. We go back with tremendous zeal and dynamism, motivated, and let us really pledge that this lasts to push us through towards, and we really become the carriers, active carriers of the message of Atmanirbhar Bharat. I want to thank all of you, and I want to specially thank once again Shri B.L. Santoshji for your inspiration and for always being with us, and always coming in with newer dimensions that keep inspiring us throughout the country. This has been a truly national audience, and this has been a truly comprehensive and composite audience. And I think this has admirably served our objective and our focus for really truly understanding and absorbing the dimensions of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Namaste.